Hello again, Ian Stuckey with Mastermind Games. Today painting Amelial, Herald of the Void from Relic Knights. Starting with Fair Skin 09047. This will also be the last video I do with this camera. I've got a new one ordered, and I should get it in a few days. Actually, I'll probably have it by the time I get this uploaded, so... But I've got too many models in my painting queue to just wait around. And the only skin showing is on her face, and that's just barely. But I could have sworn this model was supposed to come with an alternate head, but mine didn't. Don't know why, whatever, it's okay. And where is my... there it is. Getting a palette knife out because I need to mix some paint here. So 09024 Amethyst Purple. Going by the book, she has incredibly pale violet hair. There's just a little bit sticking out. I'm going to lighten this up with pure white 09039. So just a tiny dot of each. Taking the palette knife, and you always want to use a palette knife instead of a brush because the brush will not do this quite right and it'll just kind of mess things up. Better to go with. Okay, so I need a little more white. If you want to lighten your color, use white. If you want it darker, use black. And if you want it more neutral, use gray. Adding white is called tinting. Black is called shading. Gray is turning it into a tone. Tint, tone, shade. Okay, that's got it. That's got it. Try to make sure I'm in camera this time. Getting her hair flowing out from under her helm. And Amelial belongs to the Void faction of Relic Knights. Well, it started out as a sub-faction, but from what I understand, it might get to be more of a full faction. They have a synergy with the villain factions, Black Diamond, No Empire, and Stormy Corsairs. But, so hang on, let me get the next one ready. Next is going to be, let me think a minute. Trying something different with that cloud. I think Misty Gray 09090. This is going to be different. Trying to do that as a storm cloud, so we'll see how it goes. But Amelial is I believe it's Malyuth. They are apparently behind the dark space calamity that's killing the universe. They look a lot like your traditional fantasy elves, but are described as having no warmth and show up as cold spots on infrared and similar sensors. We'll just see how my storm cloud idea works out. But it's difficult to tell the relationship she has with Harbinath, the Void Reaper. But she was essentially setting things up for his coming into the last galaxy and working on getting the No Star Nebula Corsairs and what's the word I'm looking for, in on it. Black Diamond have an affinity with the Void, but she wasn't really using them in the, at least not in the original iteration of the Dark Space Calamity fiction, so Alright. Let's see, can I start on the... I think I can. Get that brush cleaned out. Let's see. Get that ready because it's going to take a while. And 09026 violet red. So we'll do the body glove in this. Let's see here. Trying to tell where that would be the cloth ends and the armor begins. I can pick out some of the armor later. Not worry about picking out the hard plates later. Now her left hand here is kind of funny. That's the only way it glued on, but I don't know if this is quite the pose they had intended. And the concept art picture of her is decent, but it is reversed from the actual model, so that kind of threw me off a bit while assembling. At least until I figured out what was going on anyway. And these wings, which are part of her armor, will be done in a different color. I'm going to do a glow effect on them when I get this finished up, but... Just making sure I've got a nice solid coat on that. Yeah, it took a while to figure out exactly how she was supposed to be assembled. Far from the worst sculpt I've seen in this line, but, well, from what I understand, part of the reason for the second edition Relic Knights Kickstarter was to fix sculpts they weren't satisfied with, as well as getting the rules tweaked, which had some problems. Okay, it's pretty good. Let that dry and move on in a bit. Okay, 09023 Imperial Purple. Well, I may have to replace this pot soon. Let's go on the armor. Where is the... Okay, there we go. There's just an odd series of straps connecting the, or tying up the boot to the leg. Or rather to this armor on the thigh here. Now, excuse me for not being all that talkative. This is pretty much first thing in the morning for me, doing this before I go into work. Yeah, on this left hand, I think I get what they were going for. Just didn't pull it off very well. Let's try to get in camera. Go ahead and get the hilt of her sword. And this as well. Let's see here. Getting the outlying structure and armor, but I'm leaving the feathers on the wings for now. Okay, I'm getting a little twitchy. May have to cut this short. Nuts. Okay, blot that out. Try again. Okay. Just one more base coat. How'd I do this last time? It's gonna be Ruby Red 09101. That's going on the base. Might have to go buy some paint soon. Alright, so as I said in the sculpting video for this basing, I based this off the black hole from Disney's The Black Hole, kind of their answer to Star Wars. And what's interesting about it is the black hole for that movie was created by pouring colored chemicals, I think the paint, into a tank and keeping it stirred from above. And apparently they finished the movie just in time, because on one of the last days of shooting, the tank shattered, pouring this stuff all over the place. Just a little touch up that shoulder there. If the paint will cooperate and I can get my hand to work right. Okay, need to touch up that white spot on the thigh there, but my new camera is supposed to come with a longer cord. Okay, so that's it for now. Come back in a minute and start shading. Okay, time to start shading. 09023 oh no, that's the wrong one. 09022 Nightshade Purple. So I just realized I've unintentionally given Amelial a sort of Magneto, as in the X-Men villain, color scheme. You know, wouldn't be the first time that's happened to me. I, a while back, unintentionally wound up painting a War Machine model like a pimp. White, a lot of purple and gold. I did not intend it to come out that way, but it happened anyway. Sometimes you do stuff like this without even realizing what you're doing. So being careful to avoid her hair. Especially since I can't touch that up as easily because I had to mix the paint myself. Which is one difficulty, we'll call it, when you're mixing up a custom color. Is it's more difficult to get that matched exactly. And I'm deliberately leaving the blade of the sword and the wings white, because they will be glowing by the time I finish. Her faceplate will also be glowing too. Just a little bit on the wings. Articulation there. It's alright. And even if I have time to do another video before I get my camera, I probably won't. So this is it till I get my new equipment. It's also the only shade I can do in this clip, just because of all the other other colors that touch it. Took a while to figure out how to get her thigh guards on here. I know there's a technical armor smithing term for it, but I can't think of what it is right this second. Yeah, with the unintentional magneto color scheme, I just thought she'd look really good with wine red under purple. So. Well, it doesn't quite match what her Boss Harpanath has. At least not on mine anyway. It does look fairly complimentary. Okay. Okay, and that's all I can do right this minute, so once that dries I can move on. Okay, next, I can go ahead and do the hair with 09024 Amethyst Purple. So I'm just going to use the straight color, whereas on the base coat I diluted it with, or no, not dilute, excuse me, I mixed with white. Just trying to be careful around the other colors. Oh, and I see I missed part of my touch-ups here, so I might have to no, in good shape. See, I might have to redo this again, but we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens when it happens. I'm not going to worry about it till then. Okay, Fair Shadow 09046. Just, well, A, it's plugged up, but B, I just need a tiny dot because the only skin showing is on the lower half of her face. So, the tiniest dot will be plenty. Again, about half paint, half water for your shades. Okay. And now 09025 Burgundy Wine. Get the body glove. And this one is also clogged, which is okay. That's why I keep paper clips handy. And this triad turns into a very nice red violet. Taking a little caution here so I don't nick places I don't want. This is just a tad tricky because of the wings. So it's an argument for doing a partial assembly. That, I said before, that kind of drives me nuts on a personal level, so I prefer not to do partial assemblies unless I absolutely have to. But again, that is something that amounts to personal preference, so. Get that odd hand. Right there. Scent's got it pretty good. So now we'll see if this experiment I'm doing with the cloud of hers works. So normally you want a middle value for your base coat, a dark for your shade, and a lighter for your highlight. But since I want to try to do her base up as a storm cloud, I'm going to shade with sparkling blue and see what we get. So I'll be highlighting with a darker color. So here's to experimentation. Might have to redo part of the black hole coloration under her base, but if I do, that's fine. This is all experimentation to see if I can pull something really cool off. So I think this needs to be diluted some more. I really want that to go into the recesses, but not completely cover up the gray. I want this to look like it's illuminated from within. And the only way you ever learn how to do something new is by experimenting. You can follow a tutorial, you can read a book on it, but in the end, you still have to try it at some point. So I think I'll be okay with this on the bottom anyway. The color I intend to shade that with should cover up any of this. So how can I start on the and well, that's getting everywhere. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and let this dry since I'm getting paint all over me. Probably have to touch up that red again, and that's okay. So I'll just do the lighting effects on the helmet, wings, and sword separately. Okay, time to start lighting effects. Pale violet red 09027. So on these, off camera I did a few touch-ups and made sure to go over these areas with the pure white 09039. Just for the sake of saving time. That would have been a boring step. Though the primer would have done, the white primer would have done just as well, but enough got onto it of other colors that I needed to do that. So by thinning this out more than usual, I can get a glowing from within effect here. It's not bad at all. Now, Amethyst Purple 09024. This is going to go on the blade of the sword, which appears to be glowing in the concept art. And I'm not going to worry if it hits the cloud at this point, since it is touching it or possibly coming out of it, so something like that would also affect the coloration of the storm cloud. Now along the wings. Try to make certain I'm in camera for this. Using the brush to soak up along the wings where it got a little excessive. This minute, I'll probably just go ahead and make it with a paper towel real quick. I'm not really concerned though, because this is supposed to be glowing, so a little bit of spillover will actually help imply that it's generating light. That. You know what, no, I'll just go ahead and touch that up off camera. Got a little excessive right there. Using the brush to soak up where it got a little excessive. Okay. Now, there it is. 09124 Adamantium Black. This is another metallic. Get that diluted. And just shade along the base here. Okay. Once that has dried, I can go ahead and highlight, detail, and finish up. Okay, time to highlight. Fair highlight 09048. Just a tiny dot. It's only going on one very tiny part of her. So rubbing on a paper towel so that it looks like there's nothing left. And there's barely any definition here at all, just a little on the lips and that's it. So, not necessarily the best sculpt. And then pure white 09039. Just a tiny dot of that again. It's going on her hair. Just concerning myself primarily with what's most readily visible. Okay. Okay. And then 09027, pale violet red for the body glove. Which one's next? Now I am going to switch brushes since the what I'm using is a bit too wet. So Sparkling Amethyst 09105. I hope I have enough of this left. Oh. I think I can get enough out to work with, but I am going to have to buy more paint this week. Okay, very well, so be it. This has to go on the base and her armor. I hope this is enough, but we'll just find out in a minute here. Well, I don't know if it's going to be enough, but we'll give it a shot. Just realized I forgot to get her hand, so I'll have to take care of that. I think I've got exactly enough here to get the job done. I will have to make a run to restock some of these paints before I do any other models that need this particular shade of violet. Since I forgot our hand, I'll just take care of that real quick with that pale violet red and just quick dusting right there. Now the part I'm experimenting with, Stormy Gray 09088. We'll see how well the storm cloud thing, brush is running away. See how well I pull off this storm cloud thing. Not too bad. See if I can find a way to improve upon this before trying something like this again, but not too bad. Not too bad at all. The lighting on her wings, sword, and faceplate look pretty good. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Do you see a little bit of the shoulder here? I could stand to touch up carefully. Just a few touch-ups here. Okay. Last steps to take Adamantium Black 09124 and line the base. And it's clogged bottle. Oh boy, come on. Oh boy. Well, that's irritating, but okay. Alright, I have to get a little more paint out in a second, but I can at least start. Well, maybe I've got enough after all. Well, looks like I've lucked out. Okay. Okay, that's it. Amelial, Herald of the Void. Okay. Well, next video I will have a new camera, so Until then, Ian Stucker with Mastermind Games, signing out.